I listened to the CARICOM meeting and it was a shame what I heard. Nothing from any of the leaders here about concrete action to deal with Cuba. Holiness, Terrence Drew, St. Vincent Prime Minister, Barbados, Trinidad. Well, that's to Trinidad. I don't want to talk about that. But nothing concrete was said about helping Cuba. It's like the governments in this region are under siege. But by whom? Meanwhile, Canada is pledging $8 million worth to Cuba. Yet the regional prime ministers say nothing in their opening salvo at this meeting. That should have been top of their agenda. And every Caribbean citizen should be ashamed of the leaders that we currently send to these CARICOM meetings. Cuba is currently in a dire humanitarian situation. We were once there in COVID and we got help from them. Oil shipments, which was once Cuban lifeline, has been severed because of the Venezuelan supply. Meanwhile, in Toronto, Canada, they have announced multi-million dollar humanitarian contribution. 8 million Canadian dollars in food aid delivered through the United Nations. And I really don't care which institution they use to deliver this aid, as long as the Cuban people can get it, because Canadians are focusing on helping people right now, not to deal with this rubbish geopolitics that Trump has engaged in creating confusion in this part of the world. And then CARICOM leaders did meet about the crisis. But what was their big move? There was a bland call for cooperation, a let's be concerned moment, a statement about how Cuba's crisis could affect the region, but no concrete aid package, no regional emergency fund, no coordinated policy. But Marco Rubio was there, the man whom they should have told, look, you need to pull back your barking dogs on Cuba. But the US Secretary of State was there, and he came to urge Caribbean leaders to tell them to cooperate against criminal gangs in the interest of the United States of America. And what did they do? They all look happy. They said yes, and they took photos and photo up. That's what our leaders do in this region. They take photos. Some Caribbean leaders, yes, did warn about the humanitarian fallout. Of course, Andrew Hornes, I heard about that. But warning the world and mobilizing relief are very different things. A concern without action, that is just optics. And that is what we heard during the opening salvo at the CARICOM meeting. Think about that. While Canada steps up and write checks to feed people, our own regional leadership is offering statements and meetings. My friends, that is not leadership. That's diplomacy at its least effective. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Absolute waste of space and energy. CARICOM has the ability to pledge regional humanitarian aid funds. They have the ability to coordinate logistics among small islands. And they have the ability to call for oil and supply corridors through international partners. Yet, here we are, nothing but words. That is all that we've been hearing down inside of that CARICOM meeting. So here's the question for every Caribbean citizen watching me today. Are we going to let press releases replace policy? Are we going to let other nations step up where our own won't? I think it is time for CARICOM governments to stop writing statements and start writing solutions. That is what they need to do. Because if Canada, all the way to the north, can act, there's no excuse for us to stand idly while our neighbor in Cuba suffers. They were there for us when times were tough, when we couldn't get doctors, when we couldn't get nurses during COVID 19 and beyond. Today, they're in our communities where we can't get professionals. They are here. We need to do better. It's a shame what the kind of leaders that we have really produced in this region of ours. It's a real shame. But we'll talk about that further in the next video. Take it easy, like, share, and subscribe.